During manufacture, every quarter in your pocket went through conditions that would destroy most things, such furnaces hot enough to melt glass and pressures that might flatten cars. These discs, which seem like they belong in the past, are nonetheless very important to your daily life. You use them to feed parking meters and get a cold Coke from vending machines. The weirdest part is that it takes more to create each cent than it is worth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video so I can keep making more awesome content for you guys. These huge metal coils, which are 1,500 feet long, the length of 4 football fields, are where it all begins at the US Mint. The coins that will be made from them will have different metal formula, which is why they have different hues. These turbines gently uncoil the coils and feed them into this pressing machine. The coils are removed from the shelves and put on the turbines. But you'll need a human expert present to continue that procedure because these sheets can be very hard to work with. The good news is that the pressing machine is strong enough to handle them easily once they are inside. The Mint says it's like a cookie cutter, since it can make 14,000 of these blank coins every minute. The workers at the Mint know they're coming because the machine makes a wonderful noise when it pumps out a lot of them. But that's not the only thing it's making. These huge piles of weirdly shaped metal bits are stacking up in equally large bins on the other side of the machine. People are even raking them up like leaves falling from trees in the fall. The Mint calls it webbing, and they will shred it all and recycle it. The blank discs are now the right shape, however the coins are still not the right size. Their thickness is the same as that of a finished coin, but their diameter is a little different. Later, that will be taken care of. For now, they're ready to go on a tough trek through fire and very rare water. The furnace is getting ready, and the tanks full of this slippery special water are ready in another place. It's time for annealing, which is one of the 2 hardest processes of producing a coin. It starts with a fire bath, so anyone close should stay away from it. The annealing furnace gets the coins up to a mind-blowing 1,1600 VEF, but they came out unscathed. The coins travel through this and come out looking fine because the annealing furnace doesn't have any oxygen in it. The flames are tightly regulated because there isn't any air in there. This keeps the coins from being tarnished, but they aren't hot enough to melt most objects they touch yet. These heated discs need to get a particular water treatment right away, which is why there is a reason why this water is exceptional. Water is just the base. If it weren't for the coins, they wouldn't appear like the coins that are in millions of hands every second. They would be stuck together for good, which is far worse. That's why there are 2 additional things mixed in. The first one is citric acid. This stuff originates from citrus fruits like oranges and pineapples, but sadly the Mint doesn't have any of those. By the time it reaches there, the acid is already in powdered form. It loosens the dirt and filth on the coins, making them feel like new when they're done. But that's not all it does. The citric acid does more than one thing, especially for the pennies. The acid takes off the copper oxide without dissolving the zinc and copper coin, that shiny penny that everyone knows, at least when it's new from the Mint. There are no guarantees once it's been used for a while. There are also lubricants in the water right now to keep the coins from sticking together when the heat from the furnace is turned off. The coins are ready to be washed now that they are cool, but there are 2 US Mint buildings, and each one does this in its own way. You'd notice this big scoop called a skip basket if you went to the Denver Mint. It picks up the coins from the slick water and moves them to the washing area. You may see this whirlway machine slowly moving around in Philadelphia, but it provides the same effect. The coins now proceed through the washing room, where they are put through this machine that uses a mix of detergents and anti-tarnish agents to bring back their natural color. It's time for the upsetting mill to get ready when they've dried. You know that point where the empty coins weren't the right size yet? That's what the unsettling process is all about. The coins are now sent into a groove that is a little bit smaller than the present diameter. That's how the metal around the edge gets pushed up a little to make a rim. This isn't just for looks. If something goes wrong and the rim isn't there, the coins won't be able to finish their journey. The coins leave the rim, and the workers at the Mint have planchets in front of them. This is perhaps one of the most significant things they do at work. Most of the coins that the Mint makes look like this, and you need to check them carefully to make sure they have the right size and rim. This is the first thing you can do to stop counterfeiting. More and more fake coins are being confiscated at US ports of entry. Criminals want to take advantage of novice investors on the internet. In just 2020, Chicago unearthed a big stash of fake coins and cash worth $1.64 million. Without strict design rules, The mint would be almost begging for counterfeits to take advantage of the situation. Wannabe pennies will be ready for the following step immediately soon if all goes well. They go into this funnel. Burnishing is the last step in cleaning the other coins. To make the surface smooth and shiny, workers put them in a drum with more cleaning agents and little metal pellets. The mint workers are so kind to them that they wash and dry them by hand with towels. But that delicate touch won't last long. It's time to hit. The planchets now go to this striking machine, which will put the design that everyone knows so well on the coins that are still blank. This is the other one of the two most exciting parts of the trip. The machine puts both the heads and tails designs on the coin at the same time, and it does this with a lot of force. The coins we use every day go through pressures of 35 to 100 metric tons, depending on their value. But the press can do more than just that. It can also make collectibles like these. The beautiful 5 silver coins may feel the weight of an incredible 540 metric tons. This press strikes common coins only once, as well as less common coins like $half and dollars. These American Eagles and other proof coins are struck at least twice, and a lot of this is going on at once. This method can make 750 coins every minute. The Philadelphia Mint has 63 presses, and the Denver Mint has 54 more. That means that if you live in Philadelphia, its presses are making 47,250 coins a minute at full capacity. Denver's presses, on the other hand, make a little less, 40,500 coins a minute. And there's more to come. The planchets slot into solid metal collars on each of the striking machines. That somewhat elevated rim we noticed earlier on the trip makes the fit snug. This small piece is an important aspect of the process. If you didn't have this instrument, the planchet would stretch and flatten like a pancake under all that strain. Coins were wider before collars came out in 1828, which made it hard to carry a lot of them about. The collar is what makes coins a little easier to use today. But the coin's metal alloy didn't get weaker as they became smaller. The collars let them get thicker, which is why the dimes and quarters you have can have 8.33% nickel and 91.67% copper. It's been a very busy day, but at least the workers at the mint can watch as these stacks of polished coins move off the conveyor belt and into a bin. Every now and then, inspectors will check them to make sure the struck design is correct. If there is, this batch will go to coin purgatory, which is what this machine is named. The waffler twists the coins so that they look like waffles. The scrap is sent to be recycled and sold, sometimes as collector's items. The mint would be open to counterfeiting again if they didn't undertake such meticulous checks by hand. The coins that do pass will be counted, weighed, and deposited into big bags like this. When filled, these sacks are so heavy that only a forklift can transport them. The forklift then puts the bags on even more shelves, where they will stay until the Federal Reserve sends an order to the mint. It could take a long time, but those pennies might not be there for much longer, so get them while you can.